right, Neil? Are you right, Neil? Okay. Yeah. Okay, like okay. Thank you all. Thank you all. Very hard. So thank you. I've got an apology from yes, and one from Connor. Connor gets married in just over a week's time, so it's a little bit busy. And I'd like to welcome any new attendees or residents. Anybody who's not been to a meeting before or for a very long time? Would you like to stand up and just introduce yourself, please?
Hello everyone, so my name is Sa. I moved here in January, so we live on
okay.
Everyone's been very welcome, so
thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Somebody else? There's someone else at the back?
Yeah, Chris and Joe Rice with thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, okay. Barry and Iris Edmondson. We've been in Forest Art for 40 years, but we haven't been to the meeting for at least 2 years.
Yes. Brian said he's not been to the meeting for 6 months, but Brian's one of our regular volunteers who always does the barbecues.
Yeah, then just want to mention everybody that we're on Zoom as well. And there's a couple of people watching on Zoom, and we've got cameras on. And if anybody doesn't want to be on the camera, please let us know beforehand so we can.
Yes, anybody object to be on Zoom? No, and welcome to anybody who's watching on Zoom.
Jeff instead.
Okay. You should all have a copy of the meetings. That's on your chairs. And on the back of your agendas. And what happened last time. So if you want to have a quick look at that. And then I need somebody to pass on. Can somebody pass the meetings?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, now with the Treasurer's report, and it's quite quick. We had an opening balance of $5,253.54. We did have a deposit of $884.70. That was the community grant we applied for because we're going to buy 15 new tables. As you might be aware, we hire our tables out to the local community, and the tables we've got at the moment are pretty rough. So we applied to Tim and begged him for a little bit of money. So we get 80% of it. So over the next few weeks, you'll see that total go down when we buy the new tables. With that coming in, it means we've got $6,238.24, and about $1,200 of that will come out once we bought the tables. Okay, that's all there was for the. And we had a donation in pet, which I kept in petty cash, of $176, thanks to Mark, who sat at the back, and everyone who entered Powerball. That was the winners. Okay, can I ask someone to pass them minutes, please? And a second. Matt. Okay, now we've got Senior Constable Damien John, who is our police liaison officer here, and Damien will give you a quick run over of the police report.
Okay, so first I'll apologise if I've got my shoes on, but just the nature of our job, we have to keep the uniform ready to go. I did some stats for the last month for Forestdale, but even going back the last few months, pretty standard. Nothing has changed much. We've just had a lot of 2 incidents in Forestdale of stealing from vehicles, unlocked vehicles, or the trays of vehicles. But overall, in the Browns Plains division, that's a big problem for us at the moment, especially tradies with all their tools in the back. Even if they lock them up, they're still getting broken into. So this is something to keep an eye out for, be aware of. Any suspicious cars around, just make a note of the registrations. And we also had the wheels stolen off the trailer. That was parked on the grassed area on Johnson Road there. I'm currently in the process of getting the footage, 3 days worth of footage off the council, and I'll sit through that and see if I can find, because we've got those cameras there now, I'll be able to find who comes along and takes those. What's that stuff? Is it? Yeah, okay.
Okay. I love that.
Okay, cool.
Good job.
There's been some petrol drive-offs, which is pretty standard. It's getting worse at the moment throughout the division, but I think that's due to the rising cost of fuel. And again, a lot of people are using false plates, stolen plates, so hard to find them. Not many traffic complaints in the area, a couple of dangerous driving, one tailgating, all Johnson Road and around United Petrol Station.
There was about 9 cars in that, wasn't
Oh, yeah, they travel around in a group.
it?
By the time it gets through our radio and everything, they're normally moved on.
Yeah, because they all smashed into one another.
Yeah, that's good. But we usually know where they come from, where they're going to, and the helicopter.
That's quite our meeting last time, by the way.
Yeah.
It happened just before the meeting.
Oh yeah, fraud. We had in Forestdale, we had one person who had a bit of an issue with online cryptocurrency fraud. So it's just something to keep an eye on, because we're getting a lot of it at the moment. People contacting you via either telephone or through messaging systems, email, and they'll be promising you to put money into an account, and they'll put in, you put in 1,000, they'll put in 10,000, and be able to take the money. And people do still do it and fall victim to it. We're working with one person at the moment in Forestdale in relation to that. And the problem is as well that if they call you from a number and it might look like an Australian number, that's usually not. They just have software where they can put any number in there to make it look like they've called from that number. So if I run a check through our telecommunications checks and say, tell me who owns this number, more often than not, it'll come back to some 75-year-old lady who's innocent and has got no idea what crypto is, or else it's just not a number at all. It's very hard to find them, and most of them come from overseas. And once that happens, it becomes federal police, and the chances of getting money back are very slim. So I'd prefer you just come into the station or give us a call, show us the message, the email if you've got any concerns, and we'll run through it.
Now, has anyone got any questions for Damien?
Were there any breaking entries in Forestdale last year?
No, there wasn't.
None.
No,
In the last 2 months, no breaking entries.
none reported anyway.
Is that, and by the way, is that typical for a suburb? No.
Not usually, no.
We're pretty good.
So we're a good suburb.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think that and the cold weather is probably helping. And all the rain. So yeah, compared Forestdale to the other reports against other areas, yeah, this is very, very low on numbers, which is a good thing.
What was the number in, say, Hillcrest?
Hillcrest, I did their meeting last night. I think they were up 6 or 7, I think it was. Yeah.
Thanks, Damien. Okay, now for the end of general business, I'd just like to thank once again for Jeff and Neil at the back, for the Zoom. And hopefully that's something that is taken off. How many have we got watching it tonight? 2 on us, 3.
I just turn around so Neil gets in the video.
I had a lot of people asking for Zoom, and I don't understand it at all. So if it wasn't for Jeff and Neil, we wouldn't be having Zoom. Okay, that closes the general business. Can I ask someone to pass the call to the general business? Okay. Now I'm going to look at the community component. Now, first up, we've got Councillor Tim Fraser. We've got
I've got a few things.
Yeah. Yeah. So first we'll talk to Tim. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks. Right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Councillor Tim Fraser. If you haven't met me, I've met many of you, and it's been good chatting. So, these are some of the ongoing issues that we've spoken about. So, last year we spoke about horrible people killing ducks on Abbey Street and that. So what's happening now is I'm trying to get those. Have you ever seen in Brisbane or Redlands now they've got those wildlife speed activation signs? So like that Smiles for Sam, but it'll be, you know, it's a 60 zone. 62, it's red, you're being naughty and it'll show a koala or something. So there should be a number of sites around Forestdale for that, but not on Abbey Street. When I did talk to those people to do with the signs, they said what they can do is get a corkwood that says, it's duck season, drive carefully, even though people probably will ignore it still, but it's still, it's still better than nothing. But yeah, I've tried a few things, but that's as good as it gets. That might happen. So if you see a corkwood around, obviously they paid attention to my request, but I'll find out more, I guess, and hopefully I can report back some more next time. Parks, I did go for a walk recently, and it's a bit of a mess in some spots. I still haven't been given ETAs or when things are going to get fixed. Unfortunately, this is not an isolated case. Everything flooded in February. It's horrible. So yeah, they'll get to it when they get to it. When I do get some ETAs or when they're going to say, hey, you're next up, then I can report it back. But yeah, it is a bit annoying, unfortunately. But like I said, everywhere is like this. So I guess they've just prioritised, say, the bigger parks and things. So I'm guessing those parks in Beenleigh, Loganholme, Eagle Bay, as it was when it was flooded, they're probably priorities because there's thousands of people go to these parks every day. The park gates that are still shut, I did hear that we've got new contractors. They're probably not getting the message through that they need to unlock the gates around Greenwood Lakes and that. So I'm still making inquiries about that. Park master plan, so Forestland, Meeting Green Park. The master plan they're still working on, so I'll try and bring it sometime soon, maybe even
Yeah, we
next.
said we'll try and get them here with the plan of the park for people to look at and.
So apparently I can get them printed off and.
What they think about it.
So everyone can have it.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is, if it's not ready for the next meeting, then we're trying to hopefully be ready for the next meeting. If not, it'll probably be the meeting after, and we'll have a plan and we'll let you know everything that's going on about the park, so people can say what they think about it and with their info.
And if you have a meeting in the park, I don't know if there's one due soon, it might even fall in place with that, so you never know. So.
Yeah, we can always do that.
Trail study. So what, as a citywide thing, we're doing like a trail study. So you got all your trails around here. So I've mentioned Forestdale specifically. I said Forestdale's got all these awesome trails. Can you bring that in as part of your study? So they're going to make recommendations and things like that. Not sure what they are. Apparently I will be briefed on that soonish about their preliminary findings. So I'll look forward to that because I'm hoping that they're going to say, hey, how about we spend X amount of money on all the trails around the city? That'd be awesome. Because these trails are good, but they could be bolstered by spending a bit more money on it, I suppose, with different facilities and whatnot. But I'll find out and I'll report that back too. And then yes, the cameras, the last two came online last week or the week before. Yeah. So and we're going to be talking about the cameras very soon. So I hope everyone's got their all their questions ready to go and listen to everything Brent's going to say.
Because we're not going to answer any more questions after tonight.
Refer them to the video.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for now for me. So
Okay, thanks Tim for that. Anyone have got any questions? While you've got
Just one question. Sorry.
Sorry.
are we going up with that?
Yes, yes.
On, if you walk around the footpaths around Forestdale, particularly along Forestdale Drive, you've got a duck with all the branches. Can the council do anything about that?
Are the branches on people's property, on public property?
I think some of them are on the.
On the footpath.
So the thing is that I have asked before that I'll use an example. There's a stop sign that was being obstructed by someone's branches because it was someone's private tree. We can't chop it, even though I did actually dawn off on there and went to the neighbourhood watch person from Hillcrest. And we said, hey, do you mind if we chop your tree because you're actually blocking the stop sign? And he said, yeah, no worries. So we did that. But yeah, if it's a council tree, then we can. But yeah, a personal tree, it's a bit tougher. And around.
It's encroaching over on the council land.
Yeah, but it's still someone's personal tree that they should chop, even though, if my neighbour's tree's hanging over my yard and I wish to chop it, I'm allowed to apparently. But yeah, apparently the council officers don't. So But I guess if you can, give me the details, do you know the exact address or?
Oh, there's a number of them.
Okay, yeah, if you could give me a list, I can have a look at it and the worst I can say is no, hey, if you know what I mean, so. Yeah. Otherwise I might have to go door knocking. Sorry?
NHX is coming around this month.
Okay.
Yes, Tim?
Yeah, NHX apparently coming this month because I've reported some issues with our trees over the power lines. So apparently they NHX or Treescape, I think they use or whatever, are coming around this month.
Okay.
for food price.
So will Lady Jets actually put branches on in your yard? Not around?
No, they go to the boundary.
Right,
They butcher the trees. I don't call them tree surgeons.
right.
They just go along and butcher them. But I had some that rose on top of actually over the top. They've left them.
Right.
So I've now reported on the Nathan confirmed that they are now. They go, well, will they, will or will they won't? I don't know. But they'll cut them to your fence. They won't come in your, they won't come in your yard.
No.
And like I say, we've got some trees that they've just butchered. And butchered's the right word, I think. But I suppose the power lines are more crucial.
They've not done that for years. I used to see them now and again, bolting down, and I've not seen them do it.
But apparently they're in the area this month.
Right.
So if anyone's got it, does everyone go online? Does everyone know how to contact me at all? No? The cards and that aren't in the bag or anything?
No,
I've
not
got a few on
necessarily.
me anyway.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, I'll hand you my business card. You can call me if you want to. Let me know.
Hey, we've got pens,
Yeah.
and that's got our team's information on. If anyone would like to come get a pen, they're here, and that's got all the information on here. It's got phone number, email, everything.
Just one other thing, Tim, on once again, vegetation on Johnson Road. There's up there near the top, near the railway line, there's someone with a whole of pine trees. And all the pine nettles have fallen on the footpath and not on the trees.
Okay.
I did mention it once before to the council, a couple of months ago, and it was cleaned up. Well, it's back up.
Yes.
2 inches deep.
Oh, it would be, yeah.
So can the council do that?
Well, if they've done it before, they would, I guess. But,
Yeah, so I just go and mention it again. Yeah. And just one other issue was the, I don't know if anyone's noticed, if you're coming from Browns Plains up to Johnson Road to whatever the court is there, the traffic lights there, the red light has been out for months.
They have the first set over the hill.
Just as you come over the
Just
hill.
over the crest, and it's that set of lights. And it's a red light.
Central,
yeah, I think that's what it
Yeah.
is.
the industrial showing up right hand side.
Is it on the Brixton or the Logan side? That's the next
No,
one.
it's actually on the road side.
On the road
It's on the
side.
left hand. The light itself is probably on the centre right. No, I think it's on the left hand side.
Yeah, I was going to say on the southern side of the centre line, Logan, but anywhere else, yeah, it's a bit tough, but we can ask.
Just get the green light, not the red one.
It's been like it for ages.
Yeah, don't know why.
Probably not.
I just go through the book.
What's really one hanging up in the air, so it's gonna be.
What a grind.
Cherry picker time.
Yeah.
What's really neat, Tim, is an off-the-grid group, like a James Bond style council party who can cut down any tree, can fix any lights without having to ask anybody. Get them in there and do it.
Yeah, I wish I.
And worry about it later. Don't tell the police.
Damon's dropping his ears.
Yeah, I didn't hear it.
Okay, any more questions? No? Thanks, Tim.
No, thanks.
Oh, look, just very short and sweet, because of the elections, everything's been very quiet in Langdale. And,
Sorry. Sue Corbett is our representative and does not on the man rail, which is just our small report.
due to the elections, everything's been quiet, nothing's been done. They're just receiving letters now. I've sent 2 letters off and 3 emails asking explaining our issues here in the K2OLB section or through Forester. And again, I've asked if they could terminate the trains at Toowoomba and continue sending them to Gladstone and don't bring them down the road through our well-established private suburbs. So I don't know where we'll go with that with this new government. It's all new. But we've asked to speak with Catherine McKinnon. She is looking after the infrastructure and she's on our side in that she's not happy. So hopefully we'll put something. But what I do ask is that everyone write to increase. The more people that write, the better. It's just Stan and I writing all the time, and just a couple of our other members. If everyone writes, you know, they'll know that everyone's fed up with it. One thing, in attending meetings with the politicians, quite a few of them have said they're surprised that more people aren't speaking out. Given the number, it's like there's over 50,000 that live in the K2OLB section. And they're just stunned that more people aren't complaining. It's the same people that they know. So silence is acceptance. Please write. And support us trying to work for you.
Okay, thanks for that, Sue.
Can I just ask if it's all right, does anybody here not know what the inland rail issue is all about? Everybody does know. That's all.
Okay, so, great. Okay, you want to settle?
Yeah, I do have a PowerPoint.
Unplug all the participants.
Brent is from the Logan Safety Camera Programme and he's given his time up tonight just to explain a few things that we keep getting asked about the cameras. So he is definitely jumping to any questions whatsoever to talk to Brent.
You can't zoom in on that. For those that are watching, we're going to look at PowerPoint. I'll try and bring it up on the camera.
Sweet. How you going, everyone? My name's Brent Martin. I'm the, our title's just changed.
What's it called?
I'm the operations and maintenance supervisor for the Logan Safety Camera Program. So I look after all things camera after they're installed. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview on the program. So the purpose of the camera program is to increase community safety, detect and reduce antisocial and unlawful behaviour, support the QPS and other council departments. So we operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. By 3 of our operators, and we've got 3 police officers in there as well, the majority of the time, just depending on what's going on, policing wise. But there's definitely, at the moment, there's definitely a police officer in there 24/7. So obviously footage gets stored back at our end. The police, we've got to deal with a memo of understanding with the QPS so they can request footage and take footage as they need. If a member of the public ever needs to request footage, you can do that via the Information Privacy Act through our governance branch. It's a pretty sort of long-winded process. I think it costs about $50. The issue with that is, depending on what you're after, that footage is redacted. So if you're trying to get footage for a car accident or something like that you may be involved in, you might not get all the information you actually want because it will be redacted. The police, when they request the footage, it's not redacted. They get everything they need from that respect. So if I can offer any advice, if you have an incident, let the police know and they'll follow up.
Let's ask a question, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Police have it. Your insurance company may well want the other party's information. How do they go about that?
They'd have to request it through by an RTI, through our governance branch, yeah. But generally that'll come up in the police report anyway, so you get all that information
So obviously you guys have some new cameras along Johnson Road. To request a camera, not just call us or speak to Councillor Fraser if you've got an idea for a camera location. We prioritise them. We speak to police, we speak to the councillor, we speak to residents, and I've got a map of all proposed camera locations to see if they fit in with the rest of our network, if they'll be beneficial for us and DPS. But yeah, if you ever do have an idea for a camera or a location that's done, we can assess it and see how we go.
Yep.
Yeah, you got an idea?
What about one on the corner of Paradise Road, Johnson Road?
We tried to do there, we couldn't do it. Yeah.
You couldn't do it, you say?
No, I believe
There's
that,
gas.
yeah, there's a gas line through there. But we do have,
On the other side of the road.
we can't go on the other side because it's Brisbane. We can see that intersection though from the camera one down. So that at the moment that's actually zoomed in on that
Couldn't
intersection.
locate the gas line.
Yeah, you just can't go around it.
Huh?
So we could locate it, we couldn't get inside of it.
When you say you can see it from the other camera, you can see it down the number plate level.
But if the car comes across on Paradise Road, you'll see the side of the car.
Yeah, that's right. We won't get the reg up, it's going straight across.
Don't mention that to anybody.
What about further down?
No, we won't see that.
No, as in for camera location.
Oh yeah, we could definitely, we look at it. But it just comes down to essentially funding. So we're primarily funded by state and federal government grants, and by councillors, LIP. But the cameras are expensive, and it just comes down to priority. So if that location isn't at the top of our priority list, it's going to take a while to end up with the camera at that
But you
location.
can get some coming either way, right or left, can't you, from Dickburn and from
Yeah, that's right.
Forestdale.
Yeah.
The only way you wouldn't get them is if it was.
They're coming straight across.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'll just chime in, so yeah, with one, if you were to go further down to Paradise Road, yeah. So, because it's such a low priority, I can't actually justify spending the money that I have available to me to put a camera there as opposed to a high priority one. So it was a low to medium at best, wasn't it? Yeah. So we've got high priority locations. I've got 10 or so, don't I? In my division, I've only done. Well, I'm only going to do about 6 to 8 of them, maybe this electoral term. So yeah, one on Paradise Road further in, maybe in the next 2 or 3 terms, but until I knock over the medium to high priority ones and so forth, it won't, it's hard to justify, if you know what I mean, especially when they're 50 grand a pop-ish for a camera.
I can understand that, but it does seem like a hole in the system.
Yeah.
If I'm a crook, to me, just going up and down Paradise Road would be, that's where I'd go. It just seems logical.
Yeah.
Everybody accepts that.
Yeah, and the priority list does, it is sort of, it does change, I guess, depending on what's going on in the area, the intel we're getting from police, the information we're getting from other council branches, things like that. So we do reassess those locations nearly every year, or as they come up.
Brisbane have got nothing down Paradise Road there, so I
As far as I know, Brisbane don't have anything past the valley.
That's $50,000 that you're fighting for the camera. Is that, what you're looking now in the hotels? Is there something small that can be put on Paradise Road that has to be funded or supported by the community?
No, because we have trouble with networking there, so we would have to have another hot pole there, and those 30-metre poles are expensive. The cameras are the least expensive part of the setup. It's the poles and the networking that costs us and getting power to them, the cost will.
Can there be so many of the existing infrastructure like
Unfortunately, can't. We've tried that. If we could do that, it'd make my job a lot easier and make our funding go a lot further. But NHW don't want us putting anything on their poles. Yeah, that's right. We are looking at using traffic lights down the track, council owned traffic lights. But that's still in the works. We're still sort of negotiating up with other branches. And that if we can do that, that'll bring the cost down significantly.
In Lynn's, Lynn handed out some neighbourhood watch packs the other week. In that, I read a leaf about you can have a camera. You have a camera, you can link it into the system. somehow. Do you know much about that?
Not into our system, like a private camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, not into our system. I'm not sure.